Welcome back to another video, and in today's video we have our NXT Deadline Predictions video. Got a pretty stacked card with a lot of big names on it, with a lot of interesting matches that I'm excited for, and I'm sure you're excited for as well. But yeah, let's get straight into things, and we're starting off with Axiom versus Nathan Frazier on the pre-show, and who do you have for this one?
So for everyone who doesn't know, I've just kind of got back into NXT. I watched it for a while, stopped watching it for a while. It's kind of off and on. I just stopped watching it completely. Just started getting back into it, so I don't really know either of these guys, so I can make an educated guess. But I have heard the name Axiom before, so I'll go with him.
Yeah, they had their match on NXT this past week, and I guess this is kind of just a second match, or I don't remember the story going into it or why this match has happened, but yeah, pre-show match. But I'm gonna go with Nathan Frazier. I think it's just gonna be a good match, and they're both really fast guys, athletic guys who can go in the ring. So, match I am interested in. Surprised it's on the pre-show. But next up, we have the women's Iron Survivor match, where we have Tiffany Stratton taking on Lash legend Blair Davenport, Kalani Jordan, and Fallon Henley. Now the winner gets a #1 contender shot for the women's champion, obviously. And who do you have for this one?
For this one, I have Kalani Jordan. This is kind of like a big match because I'm really curious what they're gonna do with Tiffany Stratton. I've been speculated, I guess, that she's gonna go up to the main roster soon. So for me, it's kind of like if she wins and gets the NXT title, then that kind of means obviously she's gonna stay.
Yeah.
But if she loses, which I think she will, maybe she'll return like Rumble time, maybe a little before, maybe during Rumble, maybe a little after. But I could definitely see her being like one of the people on like the WrestleMania stage next year, whether it be a pre-show match maybe or early match, whatever. But I think she'll probably be on the card. A lot of people seem to like her.
Yeah, I agree with you that Tiffany Stratton is probably soon going to get a call-up, just because they seem to kind of rush the women more to the main roster, maybe because it's not as deep as like the men's roster, and knowing how deep the men's roster is, you're not going to get as many time slots, and you can't get everyone on the card. So, and for the women, I think they're still trying to build that deep roster they already have and make it even deeper.
And they just called the Creed brothers too up
yeah.
Obviously, so this would be another woman to come up with them, obviously.
Yeah, but yeah, you have Tiffany Stratton, who I think could win this match. The only one I'm not going with her is basically because she's already had the NXT Women's Champion, and they don't really do two-time champions that much in NXT. No. Most of the people who've held it once, and that's about it. But for this one, I'm going to go Blair Davenport. I think she's due for a big run soon. She's phenomenal in the ring, in my opinion, and I like her mic skills. I think she can still improve on it, but she's still very good. So yeah, I'm going to go with Blair Davenport. But next up, we have the NXT North American Champion on the line, where Dominic Mysterio is taking on Dragon Lee with Rey Mysterio in Dragon Lee's corner. And who do you have for this one?
So I think for this one, I think I would like to see Dragon Lee win. But at the same time, I think it kind of makes more sense for Dom to win, just in story, and it just makes sense for him to keep it. Because Dragon Lee, I mean, he just got called up to WWE, so it'd kind of be weird to put a title on him and then send him back, kind of. Even though Dom been on WWE with it mainly, obviously. But obviously it's a NXT belt, so I would assume they would rather that belt be shown on there more. So I really would rather someone else win it besides either of them, because I think both of them deserve to be on WWE televised TV, and I think an actual NXT person should hold the belt to build them up. There's a list of people it could be on. But yeah, I think for this one I'm going to go with Dom, I guess.
Yeah, for this one I'm going to go Dragon Lee, and I'm kind of using your same reason, because I think what they're going to do, obviously Dragon Lee being on SmackDown and Dom being on Raw, you already have the Intercontinental Champion. That's a good mid-card division. With Logan gone and Roman Reigns gone, your two men's world titles are gone from the brand. And I think they're going to introduce the North American title as kind of like a second or a third, I guess, like mid-card title, and they'll still be bouncing back between SmackDown and NXT. I think Dragon Lee's a guy who I think people seem to get used to on main roster, and I think him having a belt, being like, hey, I'm actually really good in the ring. I beat Dom. I'm decorated. I'm very good in the ring. So I think this helps him build up more, because they seem to have a lot of big plans for him to be the next big luchador in WWE. So yeah. But next up, we have a steel cage match between Roxanne Perez and Kiana James. I know Roxanne's one of your favorites. Who are you going to go with?
Yeah, Roxanne is one of my favorites. But in a way, I'm hoping she loses and gets called up because there's a lot of, I think, good matches she could have there. And I think she's ready. She's already made an appearance at last year's Royal Rumble. People kind of speculated that she was going to perhaps be on the roster from there moving forward. And now it's a full, basically a year moving forward.
Yeah.
And she's still there. She's doing great, obviously. But yeah, in a way, I hope she loses. Because I feel like that's just like a big thing. Like when a big star in NXT loses, that usually means they're going to get called up. Especially after a big match like a steel cage match.
Yeah.
And like I said, with Roxanne being speculated, being called up for so long now, it just kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Roxanne for this one. I do agree. I think she could be on the main roster. However, I do think she's still very, very young. I think she's only like 24. So, still got a lot of years left, and she can only get better from here on out. But I think she'll probably stay in NXT a little longer. She still has feuds that we haven't seen yet. I don't believe we have gotten a real Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez feud. I could be wrong on that, but that could be interesting and fun to watch. And there's a lot of newer people like Kalani Jordan, like Kiana James, who we kind of just getting the start of this feud maybe. But yeah, I'm going to go with Roxanne, and I'm hoping this match will be very good. But next up, we have Carmelo Hayes taking on Lexis King, formerly known as Brian Pillman Jr. Yeah, who do you have for this one?
So yeah, for this one, it's kind of weird because I haven't seen Lexis King wrestle. I've seen him in AEW, like maybe one match, but it really wasn't much of a match really, so I didn't get to see much from him. So I don't know what to expect from him exactly, but I do know what to expect from Carmelo Hayes, and he always puts on the show. I don't know where this match really came from. Yeah. Like I said, I'm still kind of new to NXT, so I don't really know if there's like a backstory between this. But literally, I was looking at the card last night and it wasn't here, and now I'm looking at it tonight and it is here. So yeah.
Yeah, I think the entire story is when Trick got attacked, it was presumed to be Carmelo Hayes, but they had the NXT Anonymous Twitter account that it kind of like posts like random clips and stuff like that. And one day they posted a clip of Trick walking out and then Lexis King walking to the same room, and then that's assumed to be where he gets attacked.
No.
But there's another clip that shows before that Trick was talking to Carmelo before that clip happened. You can kind of like sync up the time and stuff like that. But I'm kind of torn on who to go with because Alexis King is still new to WWE, or NXT rather, and he still, in my opinion, is very green and he's not that good in the ring, in my opinion. I think he still has a lot to work on. But I'm going to go with Carmelo just because I think a win hurts him, or a loss hurts him more than a win helps him. I don't really know, but yeah, I just think Carmelo's going to win this match. But next up, we have the men's Iron Survivor match where we have Dijak taking on Trick Williams, Josh Briggs, Braun Breaker, and Tyler Bate. And who do you have for this one?
Obviously, for this one, we watched it this week, obviously. The big build-up at the end. Everyone cut their promos and the big brawl at the end and all. With Tyler Bate obviously coming out on top and winning the last position for the match. And yeah, I think this is like a pretty exciting one because it could definitely go a lot of different ways. But I think I'll probably go with Braun Breaker. I think more like today and earlier yesterday and whatnot, I was thinking more Trick. But for some reason, I kind of changed my mind overnight, and now I'm thinking Braun Breaker.
Yeah, for this one, I can almost see going every single person can win. Josh Briggs the least, but I think since he is the most out of place, I'm going to say, and I don't mean that in a bad way, I just mean he doesn't have, I guess, the star power or like the longevity and name to him yet that these other guys have. But you got Tyler Bate, who is one of my favorites, and I think is phenomenal, and I think he is a guy who is ready for the main roster. He's been in NXT for like 6 years, but he's also still so young because he started so early in the business. So I'd really like to see him win. But the guy I am going to go with is Dijak. Similar reasons to why I said Blair Davenport. I think he's ready for a big title, to holding a title, and I think him having that number one contender against, or have him using that number one contender against Ilya. Ilya versus Dijak could be a phenomenal match. I don't think who to win that match, at least the first one. I'm sure they have like a second or third match. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Dijak for this one. But last but not least, we have the main event, presumably, and that is Ilya Dragunov defending his NXT champion against Baron Corbin. And who do you have for this one?
I think for this one, I'm going to go with Dragunov. I think it just makes sense for him to win. I kind of see Baron Corbin in like the old JBL role, where towards the end of his career, where he was starting to go into commentary, he was kind of just putting over a lot of younger people, and he's been doing a lot of that. Obviously, he did that great recently with Braun Breaker. That was a great feud they had. But yeah, I kind of see him in that role, and I could see him even doing like the commentary or like a backstage thing or something. I think he'll be a long-term WWE person, is what I'm saying, basically.
Yeah.
But I have Dragunov winning. Makes sense. He's the champion. He'll probably hold it for quite a while, and he should.
Yeah, similar reasons, like you said. Just I'm going with Ilya as well, but he is probably the best wrestler in NXT right now. I think him and Tyler Bate and like Carmelo are in like the same categories, along with like Wesley as well. Yeah, I just, like you said, I think he's gonna hold it for a little while longer. But I wouldn't be surprised though if there's a shock loss for Dragunov and Baron Corbin gets the win, or maybe Baron Corbin maybe gets like a count out win, so he doesn't win the belt, but he still wins, so it's like a second match or something like that. Because it feels like this run for Baron Corbin's almost like trying to rejuvenate his career and kind of maybe I don't know really how to word it, but kind of go back to like his old days in NXT where he was like the lone wolf and this big badass who was tearing up things, and I think we can get a similar version of that in this match with Ilya, because Ilya can bring out the best of people. But yeah, I still think Ilya's gonna win, and yeah, should be a pretty good match. But yeah, what is your match that you are most excited for?
Definitely the Roxanne Perez match. Obviously, it's in a steel cage, so the added stipulation always, adds a little excitement to it. It was kind of just randomly added on, but the feud was built up. Obviously, it was expected to happen, but it just was kind of randomly announced. It wasn't, a whole lot behind it. But yeah, that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, I'm going for both Honor Survivor matches, mainly the men's one, just because there's more names there that I'm more familiar with and I know are very, very talented. But yeah, because Iron Survivor is still only a second-year concept now, and I'm sure they have a lot of creative plans that they can do in this match. I'm sure there's a lot of unique things you can do in this match stipulation. But yeah, very excited for this pay-per-view. Hope you guys are excited as well. We'll have results and reactions the day after the pay-per-view, or PLE. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, make sure to like, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.